tabarru'at. Because in tabarru', it doesn't matter really. You know, when you give a donation, you are financially a loser, definite. Now, the other party could be a winner, or the worst, the other party maybe is nothing. Like for instance, if I give a donation of something that is not known, say what is in my hand, and if my hand is empty, then the other party then doesn't lose anything because he didn't pay for it. But if my hand has something, then whatever that is in it could be a benefit to the other party. So in tabarru'at, in donations, you don't worry about knowability. So knowability becomes a side thing, not really an issue. So here, and there is no risk to sell in tabarru'at anyway, because one of them is definitely a loser, and the other one is at least not a loser, either winner or nothing. So the other party is at least not a loser, and one is definitely a loser. So that is the meaning of tabarru'at. Now, would it be better maybe to invent another category of contract and call it either cooperative contract or exchange with forgiveness contract? يعني exchange معاوضة مع تسامح. This kind of contract may solve several problems, in fact. يعني our fiqh calls marriage contract as an exchange contract. And definitely that is wrong. It is not really fully exchanged, because when you talk about exchange contract, you have to definitely know
Exactly.
what you are exchanging. If you definitely don't know what you are exchanging, the contract is invalid, cannot be accepted. And definitely in marriage, you don't know at all exactly what you are getting. So clearly it is incorrect then. Calling it exchange contract is incorrect. But simply, I believe they called it exchange contract because they did not find better category to put it in. And I think if we invent for our fuqaha this category, they will put in it the marriage contract also. So marriage will be within the contract of cooperative contract, where there is an element of exchange and there is an element of it's okay. It doesn't matter. More or less doesn't matter. So knowability doesn't matter. So this is where we really need, I believe, to invent a new category, a fourth category, and call it either exchange with forgiveness or call it cooperative contract. And that will solve several of these problems. There are many contracts that include that may be included under this, like subscription into clubs, or subscription for life for newspapers or magazines. I subscribed at one time. In fact, I announced it. I was the director of finance of the Muslim Student Association, and we need income for our journal at that time, which this still comes Muslim Student Association Journal in America. Now it comes under the name of ISNA, Islamic Society of North America. It's called Islamic Horizons. It comes not regular, but almost regular every 3 months. So we needed to fund it. So I at that time was, when I was director, I invented the idea, why don't we make live subscription? And many people accepted to give us live subscription for it, that we send it to you as long as you are alive. I was one of them. I still receive it until today. And at that time, I paid $300 for it. Usually, if you want to buy it one by one, I mean, it's $1.50 used to be at that time. So, but really we made it, and we were able to collect adequate fund to run it really, to be self-sustained. So the live subscription, you don't know how many issues you are going to give that subscriber. because he may live for 1 year or for 30 years. I lived after it for about 40 years now, and I still receive it. Alhamdulillah. Okay.
They say one in France, lawyer, he found an old lady, very old lady, 90 years old. He told her, I'll buy from your flat, I'll give you $2,500 of franc every month, and as long as you are living, I can give you this one. After 15 years, he's still living, and he died.
And he died, yeah, it may happen. Okay, so this is the idea here where, but you don't know how much. Would that be permissible or not? If you take the classification of the fuqaha, it's haram, cannot be, because you don't know what is the amount. How many issues you are going to give that person for the $300. But really, I mean, it looks, there's nothing that should be objected in this kind of contract. Rather, it is used for real. So there are many contracts, like subscription in clubs, say sport clubs or exercises clubs, fitness clubs. You subscribe, you may go every day, you may go every week, you may go maybe once for the whole year. You got busy and you didn't go for the whole year.
Here we are paying what they call aidat in housing compounds. There is swimming pool, there is sports hall, but we don't use it, you have to pay for it.
That subscription is there and it looks okay. It looks, there's no really reason to object to this kind of contract. Similar to it, some mashayikh from Syria were dwelling on this issue, and most of them said it is haram. When you go into restaurant, to buffet restaurant, you select anything, you eat anything, and it's one price for buffet restaurant. So that is haram, because somebody may eat a little and some other may eat
too much,
a huge amount, and so it is not known how much he is going to eat. This doesn't seem right. It seems that we go into these issues because we limited ourselves to these three categories: either exchange or tabarru', donations, or sharing contract. So let's add a fourth one, and maybe the insurance based on takaful, cooperative insurance, is a contract that will be one of these contracts. It doesn't matter. I may pay every year for my car, and for 5 years I don't have any accident. And then I go to another town and I am no more in this association. So I paid all this money during all these 5 years and didn't get any benefit from it. It doesn't matter. This is the point. This is the nature of the ta'awun contract. It is based on ta'awun. Somebody else benefited from it. That's enough. That matters. So someone benefited from my donation, and that is the meaning, the essence of ta'awun. So I think probably let's call it from now on a ta'awun contract, a cooperative contract. Okay. Why do we need takaful? The rejection of conventional insurance on the two bases that I mentioned, the sale of risk and the gharar, is a serious one. As a matter of fact, it is a serious one. So as Muslims, we really need to look for alternative. But also, I think I would add the insurance, if it is based on cooperation and on this kind of ta'awun, cooperation with contribution, makes it really also better. So it is better, and being better makes it universal, not only for Muslims. Muslims call for it, Muslims advocate it, but it is also humanly better, and we'll see why it is humanly better. First, on ethical ground, is it not better, instead of throwing my risk on you, that we cooperate? cooperation, avoiding the idea of throwing the risk on somebody else. The risk is something I hate, of course. So it is, يعني, throwing the, would you take the bad thing, these few dirts that are here, and take $1 with them? That is the meaning of insurance. And in fact, if you want to look at it from ethical point of view, it's no more than that. Would you take this little dirt and $1 with it, or $10, or $5 with it, whatever it is? It's like throwing dirt on the other, or like accepting dirt of others because I got money. Both of them are non-ethical positions. I really think there is unethicality in the concept of commercial insurance that we did not discuss in our class, but I think it is an important issue that we need to look at it. There is a form of unethicality. I throw the dirt on you and I give you $10 for it. So, it's bad. Nizar Abbani has couplet which is as dirty as this. He says بدراهمي بدراهمي لا بالحديث الناعم حطمت عزتك المنيعة كلها بدراهمي, which is bad. Whereas in marriage you have sex also, but you have sex with very proud way, with very pleasant way, with very pleasing to the two, without having any of these بدراهمي بدراهمي حطمت عزتك المنيعة كلها بدراهمي. So the concept of insurance as sale looks to me not a concept that fits with the high moral values. It's consenting lower level of morality. This is where I think that we should really appreciate cooperation better. On social level, of course, cooperation brings people together. It's better than I throw the problem on you, on the company. So I give you the problem, and even with a few money, I bribe you to accept that problem. Socially, the cooperation definitely is a lot better. And of course, the concept of mutual supporting each other. The word takaful means solidarity. Many scholars didn't like it to be a name of Islamic insurance, but I think it has a sense of solidarity also. That is, when we cooperate with each other for compensating for the risk that a person may be exposed to. So socially, it is also better. The concept of cooperation brings society in a better situation. Economically, I argue also, it is better, because economically, in the final analysis, cooperation is better than individualism. So cooperation creates better opportunities to deal with each other on other businesses, side effect, like side effect when we pray in the mosque Jama'ah. When we sit together in the mosque, we start knowing each other. We know each other in cases some of us may need help, or in cases some of us have some businesses that we can benefit also from. We can do businesses together. So the idea of getting more together, this togetherness creates more economic opportunities. So definitely it is preferred over individualism. Again, in cooperation, we may minimize claims instead of maximizing them. In insurance, if an incident happens, you like to extract the maximum claim you can. Within the law, within the contract, and we are not talking about going outside. But of course, there is a room of judgment all the time between maximum potential claim or minimum that you will be satisfied with. So that in cooperation, you may tend to take the minimum. because you know that this will come back to you anyway. If there is a surplus, it is coming to you, and if there is a deficit in that fund, we will ask you to pay more. So it is, yeah, and you also benefit from it. So the concept here is kind of different. So economically, then you tend to, in cooperative insurance, you tend to minimize the claim versus grabbing as much as you can.
Not necessarily unless the surplus goes back to them, because in some cases, some scholars, they don't agree that the surplus go back to the members.
We are talking about cooperative now.
Yeah, this is
We
cooperative
didn't reach
insurance.
that way. That's a different thing. That you are talking about
Talking about surplus in...
the Takaful operator.
Yeah,
No, I'm not. I'm talking about a cooperative fund.
generally.
Okay, not Takaful operator.
Okay.
Takaful operator is something. We will come to Takaful operator in the last slide if you allow it.
Okay.
Or if you don't, we can stay silent about it. Okay, so the economically also, I think the idea of profiteering from reducing the compensation that I give you is a bad concept, which exists practically in all insurances. Yani all disputes in insurance are based on the idea that you did not compensate me rightly. You kind of cut edges, claiming on the company that you cut edges and you did not make the full repair of my car or the full compensation of the damage that happened to me. Whereas so that concept, the company likes to extract as much profit as it can, and the other party feels that not compensating rightly. This is a concept of profiteering here, and that exists in insurance, and it does, in fact, it does exist in insurance everywhere in the world. It may be a lot more in the cooperative concept. So I believe economically is also better. Now the last point in why it is better, it is in fact also in investment, because in Takaful, all investments are made in Sharia compliance ways. What is the idea of it? The Takaful companies, Takaful insurance, is Sharia compliant. And if they accepted to be Sharia compliant, the society, I should say, the society imposed on them to be then Sharia compliant in full, not in part. You are applying the Sharia in the concept of cooperation to compensate, to indemnify those that a risk happens to them. Apply also Sharia in investing the funds that accumulate with you. Because if you want to give me compensation from profit that is not halal to me, I won't accept this compensation. I need the compensation from funds that is halal. And in insurance business, there is a lot of funds usually are accumulated in the companies. Insurance companies have normally, worldwide, more funds than banks. So they are centers of funding. So using these funds in a halal way makes it a big improvement in the world. The whole world is better off if we don't finance cigarettes and liquor. Believe me, the whole world will be better off. And Takaful cooperative funds contribute in diverting the investment into investment that is Sharia compliant. All Sharia compliant investment is better for all human beings. They are even better for the cats and dogs, not only for human beings. For the environment, they are better. So by making the investment Sharia compliant And as a participant, I don't accept otherwise. Because when you are going to compensate me, Mr. Cooperative Fund, I want this compensation to be halal. So it is halal all the way. Halal in the profit that is made out of the investment should be an appropriate investment and halal. And then when you give me compensation, I feel comfortable that everything is halal. So the investment, limiting the investment of the Takaful cooperative funds to halal permissible venues of investment is a great value also that we add to the Takaful. So Takaful is definitely then superior than conventional insurance. No doubt about it. That is why I go for Takaful. We should all go for Takaful. And I call on all human beings, as a matter of fact, that they should go for Takaful because it is better for all human beings. Ethically better, socially better, economically better, investment-wise better. So it is really better for humanity, and this is why the case for Takaful can be made very strongly. The last slide is about hijacking of Takaful. So Takaful has been hijacked literally by what is called Takaful operator. In the early 90s, 91, 92 maybe, around that time, before 95, a company was established, Islamic insurance company, and it was the first company in Jordan on the basis of Takaful operator. So it is a company, shareholding company that aims to make profit. The business model of it is to manage a cooperative fund of insurance based on contribution, based on Islamic way. So this company is profit making, full profit making company, and it aims to create a fund and manages it. When I learned about it for the first time, proudly the founder was telling me, we happened to have met in the plane going from Amman to Jeddah. At that time, he said, we established a company in this way. After he explained it to me, I looked him in the eye. He was sitting beside me on my left. I looked him in the eye and told him, who's the devil who told you that? Which devil is the one that taught you to make this company? It is devilish company. And I explained to him why. I asked him, who determines the fees you are going to charge? He said, we will charge fees for our activity. Who determines the fees? He said, we. Well, did you see any price in the world that is determined by one only, by the beneficiary, not by the other?
No, by
not as a result of supply
negotiations
and demand in the market? So you determine the fees? Oh, he told me, when competition comes, when many companies are established, then competition will determine that. Well, for God's sake, that's not really an approach. So it is a company to exploit the Ta'awun fund. That is the meaning of it. Takaful operator is in fact a company that is parasitic, lives only on exploiting and extracting as much profit as it can, on cutting edges on the claims. So you have a claim, we'll try to get you the lowest amount of it, but not the fair. Because that's our job, that's where we make profit from. So we make profit, abusing this cooperative fund. Literally, that was the whole idea of Takaful operator. It's a company that aims to make profit and that tries to make the utmost profit out of this cooperative fund. Yes, in the cooperative fund itself, the principle of ta'awun is there, but there is an exploiter on the top who will extract as much honey of it as it can. But within it, yes, the principle of ta'awun is there. The principle of donation is there within it, but because of that, there will be a lot of cutting edges. So we really
So we need self-management.
void.
The fund should be self-managed.
Yeah. Alternatively, the first cooperative, the first Islamic insurance company, when it was established in fact by a bank also. So here is in Jordan, a bank established, an Islamic bank established this Takaful operator. In Sudan, an Islamic bank established an insurance company because it needs it in its activities. Most of its financing requires insurance, so it needs it, but they left it to be a cooperative managed company. For a long time, it remained
still
cooperatively managed company, not by the founder. But then later it changed after several years. So what is really needed is to go back to the concept of cooperation and build Islamic insurance on the concept of cooperation without that exploitative operator. Because definitely, whoever is he, I mean, even if it were an angel, any angel is profit maximizer. Yani anyone, any human being, even angels are profit maximizers, not only a human being. They maximize their benefits, no doubt about it. I mean, look at when they argued with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala about the creation of Adam. Okay? Which is okay. I mean, it's not wrong to be profit maximizer or utility maximizer. What is wrong is to do that by exploiting others. So here, the concept of takaful operator is by definition an exploitative concept. We should, maybe to reject it, we need to amend the laws in the Muslim countries to allow purely cooperative insurance to be established without these requirements of a company that is supported by a huge capital from outside the insurance itself. Or maybe grow in some insurance companies that already exist through certain court cases against the exploiters, against the takaful operators, and make the cooperative fund independent from them. Tell them, go away, we don't need you anymore. We want this cooperative fund to be really cooperative fund and to be managed on cooperative way. And I think it is possible. Both ways are possible. We should strive for that. Thank you very much. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen.
Jazakallah khair. Thank you very much.